I would like to thank the organizer to giving me the opportunity to speak in this Institute Seminar Day 2024. So from the title, it's an introduction to depletion force. It's not my topic exactly, but it's in my future perspective. So I'll just go through what's basics of it and what are the history and all, how it came about, and yeah. So what is depletion force? We should start with the definition. So it's a very basic definition you can see. I mean, so when assume two type of particle, type 1 or type 2, and let's assume the colloidal particle type 1 are dispersed in a solution in which non-adsorbing particle, that can be hard sphere polymer chain, are present, and then colloidal particles start attracting each other. As the density of non-adsorbing particle increases, this attractive force is known as depletion force. So I'll show you the cartoon. Let's assume there are two type of particle, green and the red one, and as we increase the density of type 2 particle, what will happen? Type 1 will form a cluster. The phase separation will occur. This attractive force, generally people call it depletion force. The word depletion generally means depleted from the surface of the particle. So what happens? Type 2 particle is kind of depleted from the surface of type 1. So hence the name depletion. So the idea behind is, so if you consider type 1 particle here, there is a volume there known as excluded volume, in which type 1 particle cannot enter, and because of which they surround it, the type 1 particle, and the type 2 and type 1 will have the pressure difference, osmotic pressure difference, because of which type 1 will have the attractive force. So this is very basic idea. I'll show you some visualization. So if in the picture you can see there are two type of particle, like one is colloidal, the sphere is colloidal, and there is macromolecule inside. As macromolecule density increases, we are seeing that colloidal particle are forming a cluster. So there is a video here, you can.
Daily life products such as food and paint are mixtures of colloids and polymers such as proteins, latex particles and polysaccharides. Exclusion of the polymer chains from the colloidal particles results in effective depletion layers. Overlap of these depletion zones induces an indirect attraction between the colloids. Above a certain polymer concentration, this leads to phase separation into a colloid-rich and a polymer-rich phase.
So there will be phase separation when the two type of particle, like density of the type 2 particle increases, is the basic point. So I'll go into the discovery of depletion force, how it come about. So it started from the 1953, where Osawa in Nagoya University organized a conference where he invited not in the physics department people, but all over the biology, chemistry, microbiology, etc., etc. And there they talked about this kind of phenomena. So what he saw was this kind of phenomena is very common in many fields. So first, for example, I'm giving some of the example. For example, in the aggregation of red blood cells in high polymer, these kind of things were known at that time as well. That as you put high polymers inside on a surface where RBC is there, the RBC will just phase separated from that. And same in water, soil powder makes a colloidal state. If some macromolecule are added to the soil particle will aggregate, and the soil will form a solid block. There are a few other examples as well. For example, in this microbiology field, the bacterial cells. So by adding macromolecule, for instance, methyl cellulose makes aggregation of swimming bacterial by kind of entanglement to their cell tails. So there are other examples as well. So there are, by that time, 1953 as well, people know these kind of phenomena, but there was no underlying physics or science behind it. Like people have not formulated what kind of physics it can capture. So what Osawa did, so he came with some idea to how can we explain this kind of phenomena. So he came up with the idea which based on the two basic things like osmotic pressure difference or two-phase approximation. So first was, this very basic idea. Yeah, so if we consider two plates in a solution of colloidal particle, when the distance between the plates become less than the diameter of the colloidal particle, they cannot enter inside the particular space, and there will be osmotic pressure difference between the two phases, because of which there will be attractive force between the two plates. And this kind of force, they call this AO theory at that time, Asakura-Osawa theory. Same, the two-phase approximation was also something of that sort. They consider macromolecule and inside a colloidal particle. So macromolecule itself, single macromolecule is also a single phase, where all the monomers, interaction between the monomers give rise to a particular phase, and which is kind of related to intrinsic viscosity of the solution. and then the whole individual macromolecule consists also a solution, which is kind of related, which can be governed by second virial coefficient of the solution. So this is the second idea. So what happened after the birth of air theory? Nobody talked about that much, like 1954. After that, nobody talked about that much. But in 1980, another independent group, Bridge et al., formulated the same kind of theory. But later they came to know, oh, this theory was already formulated in 1954. Thereon, people start considering that work, and after that we can see the citation start increasing exponentially. Before that, 1980, there was no citation of the particular paper. So now the recent development, we as a physicist, we want to know what kind of mathematical form this depletion force can have. So we'll start with a very basic idea. People have started with the very basic idea. Again, the same, there is excluded volume here. You can see there is, with the two particle intermediate distance, there is a distance in which this kind of particle will not enter. So the force should be proportional to that surface area or the volume, right? Then if the particle around it exerts some osmotic pressure on that, the force should be proportional to that, the density or the, you can say, osmotic pressure. So this is the very basic idea. So people try to use that, and this S gives the surface area, geometric surface area we can found, and this surface area can be is function of kind of radius of both of the particles, type 1 and type 2. And then this pi is the osmotic pressure, and this osmotic pressure can be found by various theories. We can use very basic ideal gas that is very directly proportional to the density of the Crowder. Then there are other theories like third order virial expansion can be done, or scaled particle theory. So still it's a working phase, people have not exactly found what could be the mathematical form. But scaled particle theory and virial expansion has quite a matching with the simulation result as well. So in the depletion theory, there are some universal fact people have established now, that if there are smaller particle or bigger particle, smaller particle are better than the bigger particle for the depletion effect. So if we take two different type of particle, radius R1 or R2, the R1, if it is less than the R2, that will be better in crowding or better in forming the phase, will be in the phase separation. So these are the reference I'm giving. They have done this kind of work, that analysis of the size dependent macromolecule crowding shows that smaller is better, and this. Then also for bigger depletants, depletion effect is independent of size of bigger particle, but smaller ones, it also depends on the size of the smaller particle. So these are some basic things people have kind of established now. These are the references again. So if somebody wants to study about this kind of thing, one can go into the very first paper, that is in 1954 by Osawa himself in JCP, and then these are very recent some paper, the discovery of depletion force, and then this paper is really nice. I mean, it has all the references of the work which has been done from 1954 to 2021 recently. All the references are there. What kind of experiments, what kind of simulations, what kind of theory people have developed to study these kind of things. So this paper is also by Osawa himself in 2021, before in 2 years back. So here also he mentioned the history and how he came up with the idea. So with this, I would like to acknowledge my supervisor, Professor Satyavani and Rajesh. Thanks.
Thanks a lot for this beautiful talk. Are there